Good morning. It's Thursday morning, and on Thursday we're going to read Revelation 1, 12 through 20. Then I turned to see the voice that was speaking to me, and on turning I saw 7 golden lampstands. And in the midst of the lampstands, one like a son of man, clothed with a long robe and with a golden sash around his chest. The hairs of his head were white, like white wool, like snow. His eyes were like a flame of fire. His feet were like burnished bronze, refined as in a furnace. And his voice was like the roar of many waters. In his right hand he held 7 stars. From his mouth came a sharp 2-edged sword. And his face was like the sun shining full strength. When I saw him, I fell at his feet as though dead. But he laid his right hand on me, saying, "Fear not, I am the first and the last, and the living one. I died, and behold, I am alive forevermore, and I have the keys of death and Hades. Write therefore the things that you've seen, those that are and those that are to take place after this. As for the mystery of the 7 stars that you saw in my right hand and the 7 golden lampstands, the 7 stars are the angels of the 7 churches, and the 7 lampstands are the 7 churches." So we have here is a very peculiar vision of Jesus. Every detail, and a lot of strange details in there, but every detail refers to an Old Testament prophecy or something. There are more Old Testament references in Revelation back to the Old Testament than any other book in the New Testament by a long shot. This is chock full of references and allusions and hints of things in the Old Testament. That's the first thing we need to remember. Second thing to remember is that as we look at this, and we see all these Old Testament references, they each refer to different parts of his body, and those different things say something about who Jesus is. And I would encourage you, this is kind of fun, just take a piece of paper and a pencil and try to draw this figure. Because, the sword coming out of his mouth and the flames and everything, it's a very strange picture when you get it done. But he's walking among these 7 lampstands, which of course stand for each of the 7 churches in the villages that he's sending these letters to. And there's somebody that looks like a person with a long robe and a golden sash. So far, so good. His hair is white like snow, very white hair. It's not how we picture Jesus. His eyes were flaming like fire. That's not how we picture Jesus. And what could that mean? Excuse me. His feet are like burnished bronze. His voice is like many waters. It's very loud and, it's like a waterfall, And in his right hand he held the stars, and from his mouth came a sharp 2-edged sword. You know that old verse, the word of God is like a sharp 2-edged sword. Well, there's a reference to that. And the seer sees this vision of Jesus and just falls down and says, I'm in big trouble now. And Jesus says, "Don't be afraid. I'm the first and the last. I'm the one who rose from the dead. And I have, the keys, and I'm going to tell you everything that I want you to write down." And so every one of these details will come up in these 7 letters. And, this is, let's look at what the first one says. "The words of him who holds the 7 stars in his right hand." So, okay, that refers back to chapter 1. And it'll go through this vision kind of like that with these details. So what does this say to us? And one thing it says, I think, is that we needn't picture Jesus always as this broken, crucified person. He is broken and crucified, but that is not the end of the story. He's risen and he's powerful. So that's something to keep in mind. I also think it tells us that we don't have the whole story. We don't know the whole story. Because here's this powerful figure with all these funky details that we just don't quite get in the way that that we might. And so that tells us something that, there's more to the story, and we're waiting to see what that story will bring. And tomorrow we will begin then the 7 letters, and we'll do 1 letter, I think, each day for a week, and we'll see how that goes. So for today, have a great Thursday, and we will see you tomorrow morning.